Title will Luke Wab on the staff, and two-part, your take on the OSU-Michigan game.
Question number one, Luke, I don't want to speak before I'm ready to speak. It'll be a significant title and significant position on our staff. Luke and I, we have not even had that conversation. We will shortly, because I want his expertise and help me put together the staff. Second, obviously that's the game of games. That's the game that I grew up watching. It's a game that I thought both teams played very hard. It's also a team that the next game's 362 days away, so I understand the significance of it. And I remember my experience in that game was the first year when Jim Harbaugh guaranteed to win here in Ohio Stadium, and then the second one was Coach Bruce's final game at Michigan, and we were able to beat Bo Schembechler in Michigan. So the one thing that I know about that game, as much as there is dislike and hatred across college football and some rivalries, there's their share of that, but there's also a lot of respect in that rivalry, and I'm really looking forward to coaching it.
Far right, Jared.
Hi, Urban, back here. Back to your right. Jared Smollett from NBC4. You've had the rare opportunity to look at the football team you're about to coach with a critical eye from the broadcast booth. I wonder what deficiencies you maybe see as you come into this job in the football team and how you might attack those best in recruiting.
Well, I think Luke's better at that because I don't know I didn't have a good feel for who's coming back, who's hurt. I know Nathan Williams, I got to see him. I think he's not a good player. I think he's a great player. I think he's kind of the heart and soul. When he went out, that hurt us. That hurt Ohio State. I think Braxton Miller's a difference maker at quarterback. You can build a team around what I saw, but until I get my hands on them, obviously end of spring I can be real detailed. So what I see is I'm going to really lean on Coach Fickle. I've already had that discussion with him. He made the comment we need depth at linebacker and pick that position up a little bit. And some other areas I'd rather not comment now until I get my hands on it, though.
Front left, Matt.
Coach Matt Markey, Toledo Blade. You've had the good fortune.
Is that Lauren Markey to your left?
Yes. You've had the good fortune everywhere you've gone as a head coach to have inherit a good quarterback or a great quarterback. Josh Harris at BG and Alex Smith at Utah and Chris Leak. And now Braxton. Can you just kind of talk about how that makes the job easier coming in the door when you have somebody like Josh Harris?
Josh Harris is right there. I'd like to think that I kind of that's not why you select a job. However, that's when you are getting ready to make a decision, you do look at that because you don't have time to really build a program nowadays. You need to get going and go find a way to win. And I watched Braxton very close, but what that means at Bowling Green, obviously, that meant instant success. Josh was a tailback, converted to quarterback, that ended up being one of the best players I've ever been around. Obviously, that little skinny guy at Utah, Alex, is doing fine in the NFL now, and great player, great competitor. And then Chris Leak, what a magical player, and then obviously the guy that came behind him. So we've been blessed to have some great quarterbacks, and I'm really thinking this guy could be, putting a lot of pressure on this cat already. But he's special. What I've seen on film is special.
Right, second row, Bob.
Bob Hunter, Columbus Dispatch. Urban, given your health issues and your situation in Florida, did you have any second thoughts at all about coming to a program like this where you've obviously been here before and you know the interest and the magnitude of the coverage and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, second, third, fourth, fifth thoughts. A lot of thoughts. A lot of, there's no people more important than my three children and my wife. They had some second thoughts. We had a team meeting. As a matter of fact, I showed Gene this not too long ago. This is a contract that my kids made me sign before I was allowed to sign a real contract. And it's tougher than any other contract I've signed in my life. So, yeah, a lot of thought. I don't want to spend all day talking about that, but I feel very blessed to be able to stand here, to know where I was and where I don't want to go again, and maybe help others. Because what's amazing in this profession, I found out a lot of guys. You just not this profession. What are we talking about? I mean, this is an age-old problem about the executive or the doctor or the lawyer, the teacher, the professor, the policeman that just gets so enamored or so consumed by their profession that they forget really what the purpose of our whole deal is, and that's to raise a wonderful family. And so, Gene and I have talked about this. there's ways to, whether it be teaching class, whether speaking, or writing a book, or whatever, and I think that's part of the issues we deal with today is when you see people too consumed with their profession that they let things go at home, and then that costs them down the road. So I don't want to get too philosophical on you, but that played a major role in when you said second, third, or fourth guess, or discussion, that was a big part of it.
Third row left, Bill.
Bill Livingston, Cleveland Plain Dealer. First of all, two-part question, but have you made any determination at all on Mike Vrabel and his presence or absence on the staff to come?
I have not. I look forward. I've not met with Mike yet. I'm going to soon. I'm a big Vrabel fan. I don't know him as a coach. I'm going to rely on. I'm going to watch a little bit. I'm going to have the ability to go watch. And a guy that's never recruited. He played for a great friend of mine. I'm going to eventually reach out to Coach Belichick when it's time. But Luke Fickell will be the best expert on that because he's worked with him all season, and I'm going to lean on him quite a bit for this.
Also, different body type, obviously, between Tebow and Braxton. One's like a fullback, and one's kind of a scat back. But how many similarities are there?
I don't know. I like the way he throws. I think he's a ridiculous athlete, but you can stop ridiculous athletes by loading you up. And I like his delivery. Once again, we'll have some great conversation throughout spring practice and after spring. But I'm just really, I think it could be special.
Far right front, Kevin.
Coach, over here to you. How do you describe your style in terms of a disciplinary coach when you lay down the law to your players to do the right thing? How do you go about doing that? What's your style? Can you tell us a little about that?
Great question. I know there's been some issues that we've had that I've had to deal with, not that we're proud of. We have a set of core values: honesty, respect, number one; treat one with respect, number two; no drugs, no stealing, no weapons. Those are core value issues. You either are dismissed or you miss a good bunch of time playing the game. Most everything else are mistakes. Sometimes you're in a college town where things get, anything, all of a sudden it's on the front page of the paper. And so the issues we had, I see the numbers of arrests, and the numbers I see are exaggerated. I know we've had to deal with, if we had one, it's too many. Our job as a coaching staff is to mentor, to discipline, and to educate young people. And we've had a pretty good track record. We ran some bumps in the road at University of Florida. Does that mean we have bad kids? I'll fight that forever. No, absolutely not. We did not have bad guys. Did they make stupid mistakes? Yeah. I've made a few stupid mistakes. And so we're going to correct them. We're going to go really hard, and we're going to try to recruit really good people to represent Ohio State. That does not mean we're going to give up on kids. So that's kind of the belief that we have here.
Front left, Andrew.
Coach, Andrew Lynn, Buckeye TV. My question is, I've been from Ohio. I grew up in Ohio, was born here, raised, and from the time I knew what Ohio State was, I've always wanted to come here. Ohio State has been my passion. And my question to you is, how long has it been, your dream to be standing up there right now?
You were pretty passionate. That was good. You went for about a minute. Tell us how much you love Ohio State. As far back as I can remember, the one thing I do remember is walking in Thanksgiving time and walking around, and we had to go shopping, and I wasn't with my mom for something. I remember the loudspeakers in Ashtabula, Ohio, was playing the Woody Hayes versus Bo Schembechler, Ohio State versus Michigan, and it's enamored me. The whole city shut down, everybody, that's all they listened to. So as far back as I can remember, other than those 60 minutes in Glendale, I've always followed the Buckeyes. I will say this, that I had my 6 years in Florida. Florida was my dream job. Everybody says, was Ohio State your dream job? That's kind of a term that's thrown around really loosely to say that I was this big and wanted to coach at Florida. No, I'm not from Florida. The way Coach Spurrier and the way I really became a huge fan, I wanted to coach there. I will always be a Gator, will always be a part of that situation. Jeremy Foley had a great conversation with him today and yesterday. Bernie Batchin, the president down there, is one of my great friends. However, this is my home state, and it's great to be back home.
Right, second row, Jeff.
Urban over here. Jeff Snook. You sort of stole my question there, but let me follow up with a tradition. You have a portrait of Woody Hayes in your house, and I think as a kid you wore number 45. You were here the year before Coach Hayes died. Did you ever have a chance to to talk with him, meet him here and speak, anything of that nature?
I sure did. I went over to the ROTC building and met with him. My wife, Shelley's from Chillicothe, and we were at a recruiting dinner at the Scarlet Gray Golf Course. And we're sitting there, and Coach Hayes was in a wheelchair, wasn't doing very good. And she asked me, she said, let's go meet Coach Hayes. There was about 30 people in line. It was near the end of recruiting, and I said, I'll bring you over to his office same time. And I still regret that to this day, and so does she, that she never had a chance to meet Coach Hayes. But to say that, a fan's not the strong enough word. To think, admired him. Yes, there's always been a portrait in my house of Coach Hayes, and then obviously my mentor here, Coach Bruce, is here as well. So it goes back real thick, real strong and real thick. The admiration I have for Coach Hayes and Coach Bruce.
One more thing, just do you remember your first time in Ohio Stadium, and if you could reflect on that for me?
I don't. I believe it was Tom Cousineau had some ridiculous amount of tackles, like a 30 tackle game, and it might have been a Michigan game. That was so long